Hello guys, we're back to our next lesson. I will be introducing to you the main key reason and point of joining and learning in Bystra Legacy International, the Smart Entry. This is what the SIAP all about: systematic, interactive, accurate, and patient. Not only that, you'll be learning using the SIAP system, but you'll be also trading using the SIAP systems together with the Smart Entry concept. This concept and system work hand in hand from top-down analysis, and most important part is the confirmation. We're able to determine the direction of price and entry with F5 setups. Now guys, this Smart Entry, please do remember the SOP and the flow in doing your technical analysis. With the Smart Entry, definitely this will boost up your confidence. So let's get started. The Smart Entry will be named as Nora Entry in honor to our teacher Nora. Later on, when you join the discussion group, we'll be using the Nora Entry as our terms in our entry. So you have to understand that what is this Nora Entry all about before you really use the terms. Don't worry, I will teach you in a short while about Nora Entry and how is the concept all about. Smart Entry was established by Helmi, one of Bystra's senior students who founded Legacy Bystra together with Nashmi. So Nashmi is basically like our seniors or our class monitor in our private study group with teacher Nora. So Helmi is one of our seniors as well. So he is the one that established the Smart Entry systems. And therefore, we will use this Smart Entry as it is workable, successful with the Legacy Bystra. But now, we will be introducing this to the world. So guys, you have this opportunity to learn. So please make sure you understand the concept very well. This would really definitely helps a lot in your trading. So what is Nora Entry? Nora Entry is to minimize as much risk as possible in trading before we putting our order or an instant entry. So Nora Entry is actually a QM, a mini QM at a small time frame inside the F5 setup. Sounds confusing? No, it will be very easy to identify. That's why the risk is very small. I'll show you in the next slide. Let's look at the concept of Nora Entry. The first one is to determine the correct zone with the correct order entry. So this means that when a certain price is on the bullish side and then reach a certain danger zone, and when there is a reversal happens with a confirmation, then we will entry with the sell setup. So if there is no rejection happens, there's a breakout and a pullback, then we will continue on the buy setup. Secondly, we're able to identify the correct confirmation. At certain times where the price, before it even touched the danger zone, it has shown a confirmation of rejection. But how can there is a confirmation of rejection when the price hasn't touched the zone? For example, a price about another 5 to 10 pips to touch a danger zone and has already reacted with a bearish engulfing. Now, when we see this kind of matters, we have to be careful. Later on, we will look into the chart at the end of our course. Thirdly is to boost our confidence. So, when we have enough reason, when we have a valid reason to entry, therefore, it will definitely boost our confidence when we put a bigger lot on the entry, isn't it? Remember guys, even though we have the confidence in our trading, we can put a bigger lot, doesn't mean that we should feel overconfident with it. Means we're gonna go all out with all our equity. Dangerous. Remember guys, be smart about your trading. So I'm going to show you how does the Nora Entry looks like in the example of this chart. So here we have the rejection on the danger zone SNR resistance. We have drawn the SNR weekly danger zone, And then the price has closed a bearish engulfing. So let's say this bearish engulfing is at the H4 time frame. And there's a potential setup on the H1. H1 there is a high, low, higher high, lower low. At the same time, the confirmation of this setup is at the body of this bearish engulfing at the H4 time frame. So now, what is Nora entry? Nora entry is a QM inside this setup. In this case, this is a mini QM at the QM setup here. So this is a H1 time frame. Most probably that this will be the M1 or M5 setup. So the confirmation will be a time frame higher. So let's say this is M1 setup. The confirmation of this setup will be a bearish engulfing on the M5. If this is M5 setup, then the confirmation of the bearish engulfing will be on the M15. And guys, remember, setup has to be at the body of the confirmation. Easy, isn't it? I will show you this later at the end of the course with chart, with the real chart. Guys, I have a flow chart here which you can use it as a reference. Either you can screenshot or you can write it down again. The best thing I would do if I were you is to write it back down so that I can build my subconsciousness every time when I write something down. So let's have a look at this concept. So from the beginning of the class up to now, you actually have already learned a little bit about smart entry. So what I'm saying is like this. Normally we will go to the monthly, weekly and daily time frame to mark the danger zone S and R. The reason why is because we want to know the direction of the price. When we have our danger zone marking, then we can see where is the price heading, whether they reject a certain SNR or they do a breakout and pull back. So we have to look if there is rejection happens and there is confirmation of rejection, then only we can entry. Same goes with when the price did a breakout, it did a pullback. When the price comes back to test as a new support or resistance, then there is a confirmation of rejection. We then able to entry with the F5 setup and with the confirmation. Now the next thing about Nora entry again is that we will move into a much smaller time frame how we can entry. I will show you this one at the end of the course. So let's look at gold. Since gold is teacher Nora's most favorite pair to trade, so as her students. Previously, before I know teacher Nora, I also don't even dare to trade gold because we never understand gold and then we feel that it is very volatile and very hard to trade. Price move very fast and you get your SL very fast as well. But ever since we knew teacher Nora, gold is one of the best metal or the best pair to trade and the most easiest to gain your profit. When I say easiest, it basically means very quick. You gain your profit very quick. When you started to get familiarized with gold, you will start to feel that all the other pairs has become very slow. Even now, if I want to trade Euro USD, I feel that the Euro USD pair has become very slow. However, you may trade at the GBP pair. GBP pair will be the second volatile after gold. So same goes with this concept. The time frame, we can go to the major, monthly, weekly or daily. And then when there's a rejection, there's a confirmation of rejection, then we will entry. Same goes as breakout, price back, test as a new support, new resistance. There's a confirmation of rejection, entry with F5. And we will use the Nora entry to even lower our risk. So the goal on the monthly, weekly, daily time frame will be the same as the currency pair. Now there's another secret to this. Gold. When the gold is not on high volatility, I'm talking about during the Asian session or when the gold doesn't have any major news happens. Because normally after a big movement done by gold, gold will stay sideways for quite some time. Sometimes it can stay sideways for up to 2 weeks. Alright, so if you do more backtests, you realize about this. We can discuss this further in the group later. I'm going to show you some of this later on at the end of the course. Alright. So we can use the H4 time frame, H1 time frame, or the QM LED retest for H1 or H4. So normally this is mainly for scalpers. We use this as a monitoring zone as well. Guys, remember, monitoring zone, not as an entry. Alright. So if you ask this whether we require second movement, yes, you still need second movement on the H4, H1 SNR danger zone. Okay, this is only, as I said, valid during the Asian session or when there is no major news for gold. However, for the QM H1 or H4 time frame, for the LED retest, this one doesn't require the second movement. We can just mark the left shoulder and we will monitor the zone and we will entry using the NORA entry. I will teach this one again at the end of the course. So same thing goes, when there is rejection, there is a confirmation of rejection, then only we will entry. So this one will be a little bit different than here. So when there's a rejection happens during here, normally the M5 engulfing, we will entry on the M1. So the secret to entry on the M1 using the NORA entry, we will do this later on. Alright, so next, the breakout and pullback, same goes. There is an M5 confirmation of engulfing, and we will use the NORA entry in the M1 time frame. Now guys, you'll be much surprised how easy it is to trade on the M1 time frame using the NORA entry, because the risk has become so small and the reward is so big that you feel that with the confirmation and the entry systems, it is going to be very fun to trade, especially during the Asian session. And also during the time where gold are in the sideways movements. This is basically the flow chart about using the NORA entry system. The concept of NORA entry. So guys, remember this. Remember the flow. Remember the SOP, how do we entry. Use this, because we're going to use this later on very often in our trading and also our analysis. Please do not forget, guys. Please do not forget. Write it down is the best thing. Keep in mind, all the time is always with you. So we use this as our entry in trading to lower our risk. I'll see you in the next class.